Well, hey guys, what's up? It's your boy AI Legends, and today I shall be uploading another series, the first part of it, which is going to be what if Naruto was abandoned by his family? Well guys, before starting this video, I would like to tell you guys that I'm not making the next part of it, or you can say the next part of what if Naruto was the reincarnation of Ano's Voldigod. Because many of you guys must be thinking that no, don't start new series, upload the next part of it first. I have just uploaded 1 hour special of that series, so I shall be uploading it tomorrow or the next day, who knows. Well, it will be up to me. Well guys, if you guys are not subscribed to my channel, then it would be a favor to me if you guys do so. It will help me a lot. I have already surpassed 4,000 subscribers and it will help me. Well guys, guess what? If right now I am at 4,135 subscribers at this channel, if till tomorrow I'll be able to reach 4,200 subscribers, then I shall end the series Ano's Voltigod reincarnation tomorrow. If you guys are able to do so, and guess what, I will make the next part of this series tomorrow if the subscriber goal, which is not much, it is around, I'm pretty sure that 65 subscribers. So even in tomorrow you guys will have plenty of time, so it will help me as well as you guys, and I shall, no matter 1 part, 2 part or 3 part, because I still have a lot of story to cover like Madara, Sage of 6 Path and all those type of things. No matter how many parts it will take, I shall end the series tomorrow if you guys are able to do so. It is up to you, just a new experiment, you can say it. So well guys, I have made a new, you can say, ID of Instagram. Allow me to show it. Here we go guys, it is my ID on Instagram. If you guys follow me on it, then I shall post many posts in it, as well as communication will be easy. So it will help me as well as you guys. So please follow me on Instagram. So without any further ado, let us start our video. As the story begins from the Nine Tails attack, as everyone in the village right now is panicking, as they could see a giant fox just destroying things everywhere, as the giant fox has 9 tails swinging around, destroying buildings, as well as sending shinobis who are trying to attack the fox, sending them flying, as Third Hokage right now is the leader of all the shinobis. As Third Hokage said, alright, we have to push this fox out of the village. Come on guys, we can do this. As the shinobis nodded, as many shinobi said, fire style, great fireball jutsu, as a great fire started to rush towards the giant fox, as the fox just simply swing his tails completely, you can say, destroying many buildings as well as pushing the fire away, as the giant fox did not even get a single injury from all the attacks of shinobis, as the shinobis are trying their best to protect their village. As Third Hokage right now is sweating, as Third Hokage, damn it, where is Minato? How did the seal even broke? As Third Hokage is sighing, and then suddenly a giant tail beast bomb is right now is forming in the mouth of the 9 tails, as Third Hokage is sweating hard, as Third Hokage said, damn it, this is it, we are all doomed. And then suddenly a giant door landed on the head of the 9 tails, and then everyone saw that it was none other than 4th Hokage, and then the 9 tails along with Gamabunta simply vanished, as Third Hokage started to rush towards where the sealing procedure is going to head. As the story begins from here on, as Minato Kushina arrived, as Kushina had 3 children in her hand along with a shinobi who was helping them during the delivery time. As Kushina laid down the 3 children, as Minato arrived, as he said, alright, I have already designed the seal with the help of Kushina as well as this new shinobi who was, you can say, apprentice of Kushina as well as quite skilled in Fuinjutsu. So they were able to make a big seal, and then Minato said, alright, now, as he summoned Gamabunta and then dispelled it at the same time, because Gamabunta was in contact with 9 tails, he was able to summon the 9 tails thanks to the heroism as well. As the 9 tails was in the center of a big sealing procedure, as Minato said, now, as he slammed his hand in the sealing, and then we can see that the 9 tails was restrained as Minato completed his sealing procedure, as he sealed away half of the 9 tails in Menma and then the other half in Mito. And then he sealed away the soul of the Nine Tails with the new bond. You can call it Naruto Uzumaki. As Minato was sighing along with Kushina, as Kushina was able to, you can say, survive in this timeline because of the medic that were around, as well as Tsunade, who arrived just in time to heal Kushina, as Kushina was able to survive as well. After, you can say, 1 or 2 days passes, and now the village is being rebuilt, and now we can see that Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village is standing on the tower of Hokage as the public, civilian, along with the shinobi of the village were down as Minato arrived with 2 babies in his hand as he announces that how his children has stripped the Nine Tails of his power and sealed him away so that he could never destroy any village or harm any villager. As all the people started to cheer for Menma and Mito, and as Minato announces both Menma and Mito as the savior of the village, but somehow he forgot about his third son Naruto Uzumaki, as he did not even remember that Naruto had the soul. So he announces Menma and Mito to be the savior of the village. And now, after some days, Jiraiya finally arrived at the village as he saw the destruction that was in the village. As Jiraiya went to the Hokage office, as he saw Minato was giving order to shinobi, as Jiraiya was quite happy to see that how his student was able to deal with Nine Tails without even resorting to the Reaper Death Seal. As Jiraiya was quite happy to see Minato along with Kushina. As Jiraiya sighs, as Tsunade also arrived because she was taking care of Kushina in this time, because even though Kushina was healed up, but thanks to Tsunade, she was being recovered in this time, and along with some Nine Tails chakra that still remained in her even after the extraction. As Minato explained the situation, how a masked man actually attacked the village, so that is the main reason the Nine Tails was extracted from Kushina. As Jiraiya started, you can say, pondering on the situation, as he said, well, Minato, it seems that the Great Toad has given me a prophecy. As Minato raised an eyebrow, already knowing about the Great Toad, who used to be the summon of the legendary Sage of Six Paths. As Jiraiya explained that how the Great Toad has given the prophecy that a child from the Yellow Flash and the Red Death shall born, who shall have the power of ancient times and the power to change the world. And he will have the power to reach to the heart of the people. As Minato nodded at that, as he was quite surprised that his name was mentioned in a prophecy along with Kushina. As Jiraiya nodded at that, as Jiraiya said, well, Minato, I think that it is going to be Menma or Mito. As Minato raised an eyebrow, as Jiraiya explained that how the ancient beasts or ancient powers are that of the Nine Tails. But that is not going to be the case, but we shall see it in the future. As Jiraiya said, well, the ancient power is that of the Nine Tails. After all, Nine Tails is that from the time of the Sage of Six Paths, so it is quite possible that the child who shall have the power of the Nine Tails is going to be the child of prophecy. As Minato was quite happy to hear that his son or daughter are going to be the savior of the world and shall unite all the kingdoms or all the villages. As Minato was quite happy to hear this. As Jiraiya said, well, Minato, maybe we should start to train both of them. Who knows? It could be either one of them. As Minato nodded at that, then Minato said, well, I have a lot of responsibilities as the Hokage, you know it, Jiraiya. As Jiraiya nodded at that, as Jiraiya said, well, I was pondering, there is a place in the Fire Temple, in the Land of Fire, where we can train them. Because I have heard that the Sage of Six Paths also used to train in that place, and that place seems to have a lot of nature energy. As Minato raised an eyebrow and said, well, you never told me about it. As Jiraiya said, well, I have recently found it about, thanks to the Great Toad. As Minato nodded at that, as Jiraiya said, well, I think that we should move from the Hidden Leaf Village for some time. This surprises Kushina as well as Minato, but Jiraiya explained that how it is for the Child of Prophecy, as well as if Menma or Mito are trained there, who knows how strong both of them could actually get. And what secret lies at that place? After all, that was the sacred place of the Sage of Six Paths, as both Minato as well as Kushina agree with that, as Minato said, well, it is possible for a Hokage to take some break. After all, third Hokage is here, and I'm pretty sure that he could handle the situation here. The village is still being rebuilt, so we have to wait for some time, as Jiraiya nodded at that, and then the time passes, and now it is time for both Minato as well as Kushina along with Menman Mito to leave, as Minato explained the situation to third Hokage, as third Hokage was utterly shocked, as third Hokage said, wait, are you telling me that just because Jiraiya has told me that one of your children are going to be the child of prophecy, you are going to abandon your third son? But he's the oldest son, Minato. How can you do this? As Minato was feeling guilt in his heart along with Kushina, but both of them speak up, well, it is for the child of prophecy, for the world, for the villages, we want peace. As third Hokage was still surprised as he said, no Minato, I know that you can take a break from Hokage's situation. After all, you have just saved the village, but 13 years is still a long time, and I'm an old man, and on top of it, you are abandoning your third son. What should we do about him then? Huh? As Minato said, well, as he looked towards third Hokage, as he said, well, we can put him in the orphanage, as third Hokage was fuming in pure anger, as he said, what did you say to me, Kushina? As Kushina said, well, it is for his own protection. If the other villages find out that Naruto is our son, as well as this village, then our village will spoil him. After all, he's the hero, and the other villages will try to attack him when we are not here. As third Hokage was still utterly shocked, as he said, but it does not give you the right to abandon him. Then, after 13 years, what will you guys tell him? That you abandon him just because you guys could train his siblings? As Kushina could feel the guilt in her heart, but she said, no, it is for the peace, it is for the child of prophecy, for my children's, and I shall do it, and I'm pretty sure that Naruto will understand it. As third Hokage sighs and said, well, I still will say, you guys are making big mistake about it. As Minato said, well, Lord Third, I have already made my decision, and it is final. I have already talked it to the Fire Daniel, and he has already given me permission to take a break for some time. So, don't worry. I'm pretty sure that Naruto will be okay. Just put him in the orphanage, and they will take care of him. I'm pretty sure about it. And just never told anyone that Naruto is our son. As third Hokage was still angry about this situation. This situation is not going quite well, as he looked towards Jiraiya and said, so, are you agreeing with this? As Jiraiya said, well, Sensei, it is for the better good, and I'm pretty sure that Naruto will understand. He will help his siblings, and his siblings will achieve great things, and he will be support to his siblings. This angered third Hokage beyond belief. These guys were thinking that the other son is just going to be the sport and nothing going to be any more than sport. As he looked towards Tsunade, as she nodded at that and said, well, I think that it is the right choice. It is for the village, for the world. As third Hokage was releasing bloodlust, as whole room filled with complete bloodlust, as everyone was gasping for air. As third Hokage said, you guys are so pathetic that I'm regretting the day, Minato, I chose you as my successor. This really shocked Minato. It was like a slap to his face. As third Hokage, by saying that, went off. This angered Jiraiya as well as Tsunade, but Minato was utterly shocked. He never thought that he will see the day when third Hokage will say something like this to him, but he sighs and said, well, it is for the better good. As he went off along with his family for 13 years. Now, we cut back to the life of Naruto Uzumaki, who is going to be the Jinchuriki of the soul of the Nine Tails. Now, Naruto right now is 3 years old and he is in the orphanage. Things are going the same, or you can say the 4 years old. Things are just going normal for before Naruto was announced, and now everyone is now under the Hokage's tower, and Danzo is standing there as he announces that how Naruto Uzumaki is the Jinchuriki to the soul of the Nine Tails. This really shocked all the civilians as well as many people who were there, as all the hatred of the Nine Tails was now directed towards Naruto, as Naruto's life started to begin, even more suffering started to begin in the life of Naruto Uzumaki, as Naruto is right now 4 years old as well as running from the villagers who are trying to chase him and beat him down, as Naruto was running, but unfortunately his little legs are not going to take him far from these villagers, as Naruto finally tripped and fell to the ground face first. As villagers finally caught up to him and said, "Alright, you little demon, it is time for you to die." As one of the civilian took out a kunai, "Yeah, you killed my brother." As other ones speak up, "Yeah, you killed my sister, now you shall pay about it." As they started to attack Naruto, started to beat him down and then stab him over and over again. But suddenly they felt the killing intent completely surrounded all of them, as the several ambus landed in front of them, as the third Hokage also landed as he glared at all of them as they were utterly shocked, as third Hokage said, "Now kill all of them for breaking their laws." As ambus nodded and then started to massacre all the civilians that were there in that arena, as well as the many Jonins and some Ganins as well were simply killed off, as third Hokage took Naruto to the hospital. As Naruto right now in the hospital, as third Hokage sighs as he said, "Well, I always knew that it was a bad decision to let Naruto alone in the village. I still cannot believe that Minato has abandoned his own blood, his own family, his own oldest son," as he was in pure anger, along with Kushina, who used to call herself Uzumaki, has abandoned her own blood. He was in pure anger, but he could not do anything, and on top of it, Danzo has announced that Naruto is the Jinchuriki to the soul of the Nine Tails. This really angered third Hokage as he sighs, even though in his life, well guys, if you guys don't know, the chemistry of third Hokage with his children are not that great, because he was never able to give any time to his children. One of his children became a rogue shinobi, while on the other hand Asuma joined the 10 guardians because he did not want it to be around Hokage or his father. But third Hokage never abandoned his family, as he tried his best to take care of his family along with the village, even though he did not have great chemistry with his children, but still he never abandoned any one of them, as he started to regret the day he chose Minato as his successor, as his opinion about Minato started to change drastically, as he saw that Naruto finally started to open his eyes. His injuries were healed quite well, and he seems to be quite okay right now. But for some reason, even though Naruto does not have the chakra of the Nine Tails, his injuries heal a lot quicker than anyone. As third Hokage thought that it must be some Uzumaki healing factor or anything like that. And this really made third Hokage a bit happy that Naruto has some special ability and he can train him on it or things like that. But the council has forbid him to be around Naruto Uzumaki or show him any favor or anything like that. And he has to deal with the damn council, as Naruto finally woke up, as he took a seat, as he looked toward third Hokage, as he started to cry. It is always like this. He always found himself either in his apartment or in the hospital along with the third Hokage, as third Hokage's heart completely shattered after seeing the little boy crying like this, because third Hokage started to look after Naruto like his own grandson. So this really hurt third Hokage a lot, as Naruto started to cry, asking third Hokage why does people always hate me, as Naruto started to speak up, why does these people always hate me? I never did anything to them. I tried my best to be nice to them, but they just ran away, as the tears were coming from the eyes of the Naruto Uzumaki, as even third Hokage started to feel guilt in his heart, as well as because he tried his best to forbid Danzo, but he got the better of him in the council, telling that how the hatred of the Nine Tails has to be put somewhere else, otherwise many shinobi might go rogue or the civilians might change their business project to different villages. As the council agreed with that, the civilian council was informed about this as the news spread like wildfire, as he was not able to do anything. He even tried to write things to Minato, but he knows that nothing is going to change, as Minato never replied to any message or whatsoever. He always sent these messages to Jiraiya, but it seems that the messages are not even reaching them, as he was quite angry that Minato or Kushina did not even try to reach for Naruto or anything or any letter or anything like that. This really hurt third Hokage along with Naruto, as third Hokage explained that how people always hate things which they do not understand. As Naruto looked toward Hokage, Gigi, am I a freak? Am I a demon? As Hokage's heart was really hurting right now. As he said, no Naruto-kun, who told you that? As Naruto said, well, they always call me that I'm a demon, nothing more than a demon. As Hokage explained that how these people do not understand, and one day they shall understand Naruto's pain and his strength as well. As Naruto nodded at that, as Hokage said, Naruto, what do you want to be in the future? As Naruto looked towards Hokage, as he smiled and said, well, I want to be the Hokage of this village, just like you, Gigi. As this really made Hokage happy. As Hokage said, so, what do you want to be, Hokage? As Naruto said, well, I never had any family, but you always took care of me, even though you have a lot of paperwork. Naruto had already seen the several papers that were in the Hokage office, but you always took care of me. No one cared for me, but you were there. I just want to be like you, to take care of other people who cannot take care of themselves, who do not have any family. This really made Hokage a lot happy, as Hokage has a determined look in his eyes as he said, Naruto, alright, if you want to be Hokage, then you have to become strong, just like me. As Naruto has a determined look as well as happy smile on his face as he said, yes, I will train hard to become just like you, Gigi. As Hokage smiled and said, alright Naruto, I have decided. As he stood up, I, Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, the god of shinobi, shall train you in the art of the ninja world, and then you will become one of the strongest shinobi to ever live, stronger than anyone. As Hokage has a determined look in his eyes as well as on his face, as Naruto smiled brightly on that, as Hokage said, alright Naruto, take care. Now we shall meet tomorrow. As Naruto nodded at that, as Naruto started to sleep, as for Hokage, he went off along with his Ambu, but one Ambu was still there, as he went to the opposite direction, to the underground basement, which was none other than a Ambu of Root Ambu, as he reported everything to Danzo, as Danzo was quite surprised that Hiruzen has made such a claim that he will train Uzumaki Naruto himself. The main reason he explained the villagers about Naruto so that Naruto could hate the village or hate the people, and then he could manipulate him so that he could use the power of the Naruto Uzumaki, because he was an Uzumaki and it will help him a lot. So he wanted Naruto as a weapon for himself. This really put hindrance in his plan. If he cannot get Naruto Uzumaki, then no one will get. As he nodded at the Ambu, as Ambu went off. Now, right now Naruto is sleeping in the midnight in the hospital, as then he heard some, you can say, nurses talking among each other, as Ambu arrived and told them something, and then he went off. As one of the nurses said, alright, we have already gotten our orders from Lord Donzo. As the other nurse nodded and said, alright, it is time for this demon to die. I have already prepared this injection. It will kill him, definitely. As the other one nodded at that, as they started to walk into the room with the injection in their hand, as Naruto had already heard everything. For some reason, his senses, as well as his hearing, smell, everything is quite extant. He could hear even the smallest whisper in the room, as he was able to hear all of this. As the nurse was just about to put the injection in his body, but then Naruto kicked the injection away into the, you can say, the door. As nurse was quite surprised as Naruto kicked her away, as the other one tried to catch Naruto, tried to capture him, but Naruto was so fast. Thanks to his small body, he was able to run away from the, thanks to the window, as he ran away into the village. As he saw that villagers had already seen him, as they started to follow him once again, but he ran to the Hokage office. As he was in the front of Hokage office, he could see the door of the Hokage office. Then suddenly several kunais were stuck into the ground. As Naruto saw that, two Chunins landed in front of him, and one of them said, so the demon has finally decided to show his face. Alright, no, you're not going to the Hokage office. Only place you are going to is going to be hell. As then suddenly, as Naruto was grabbed by the Chunin, as Naruto bit on his hand, as the Chunin gripped in pain, as he said, you little brat. as he kicked Naruto away, as Naruto was still running, as he was trying his best to reach the Hokage office, as he could see the Hokage office, but he was grabbed once again, as Naruto was trying his best to reach to the office, but unfortunately for him, he was still grabbed by the Chunin, as the villagers started to beat him around for the second time, as Naruto was slapped into the door, in front door of his home, as well as beaten pretty badly, as Naruto just simply opened his door and went into the, you can say, room, or you can say that they just left him in the street, as he was able to crawl himself to the house of his own, as he started to sleep for the next day, knowing that there's no place in this village and he has to become strong to become just like Gigi. As the next day, Naruto's wounds were quite healed, but still, most of them were there, as Naruto ran in the Hokage's office as he saw that how the secretary tried to stop Naruto, but third Hokage had already sensed Naruto coming, so he ordered the secretary to let him enter, as the secretary glared at Naruto and then opened the door as Naruto went into the room, as third Hokage noticed that several injuries that were there that were not there tonight, but they were there right now, as third Hokage looked towards Naruto and asked him what actually happened, as Naruto explained that how the nurse tried to kill him by using some injection, and then he ran from the hospital, and then the villagers catch him once again, as third Hokage sighs at that, angry that he did not thought about it, as Naruto, you can say, speak a name about something Lord Danzo, as Hiruzen's eyes widened and then glare came into his eyes as he was angry that Danzo will do something like this, as Hiruzen already know quite well about Danzo and his schemes and all, so he was quite angry, but this even assures his decision that he will train Naruto Uzumaki himself, and then it will be all okay. So he finally started to train, as he said, "Alright Naruto, follow me." As Naruto nodded, and then he went to the back side of the Hokage office, as Hiruzen said, "Well Naruto, this is the personal space of Hokage, where only Hokage and only the most, you can say, precious people are allowed to come here to train, and I will be training you from here." As Naruto nodded at that, as Hiruzen said, "Alright Naruto, tell me, what do you know about being a shinobi?" As Naruto said, "Well, shinobi is someone who protects something by sacrificing other thing." This really utterly shocked Hokage, as Hiruzen was quite surprised about first thing that Naruto said, by protecting something and then sacrificing other thing. As Hiruzen said, "What do you mean by that, Naruto?" As Naruto said, "Well, I have heard from the books as well as the other things I have read about that how the shinobi kill other people or sacrifice other people so that they can protect their home or their people." This really shocked third Hokage. He never thought about such logic or things like that. Well guys, it is actually the logic of Madara Uchiha. The speech, the grand speech he actually gave in the 4th Great Ninja War, that people just kill other people so that they can protect their people. Things like that. As Hiruzen shook his head and said, "No Naruto, that is not being a shinobi. Shinobi means self-sacrifice." As Naruto was quite confused about it, as Hiruzen started to explain that shinobi is someone who protects his village on the cost of his own life. He will not care about his own life, but he will protect the things which are actually precious to him, and he will do many things not to kill other people, but if the need arises to sacrifice himself. That is something to become a shinobi. Those who sacrifice others for their own, you can say, for their own good, for their own purposes, are not shinobi. They will call themselves shinobi, that they are sacrificing something for their precious things, but actually they are just sacrificing or killing other things so that they can actually keep or obtain new things. As Naruto nodded on that, getting the new logic of being a shinobi, as third Hokage said, "Alright Naruto, never thought about your logic again, that is nothing but bullcrap, and always remember that a shinobi sacrifices himself, not his own people or his own precious people, to achieve new heights of power." Naruto had a determined look on his face as he said, "Yes, Gigi." As Hiruzen said, "Alright Naruto, from here on you will call me Sensei or Lord Hokage while I'm training you. While on the other purposes, you can call me whatever you like. As Naruto said, alright, Sensei. As Hiruzen smiled and said, alright, Naruto, today I shall teach you how to unlock your chakra. You are still 4 years old, but I will help you to do so. As Naruto nodded at that, as Hiruzen said, alright, Naruto, sit down and start to concentrate. You will feel a pole in the center of your body. Just put it out and then try to pull the power from that pole. That will be chakra. It is a concentration of mental and physical strength, and the new type of power that is formed from both of these physical and the mental strength or the spiritual energy is known as chakra. As Naruto nodded at that, and then he started to concentrate in his body as he could feel the power inside of him surging through his veins. As in the middle section of his body, he could feel something, a foreign chakra as well, but his own chakra at the same time. As he could feel, as then suddenly, Third Hokage was quite surprised, or you can say, as Naruto started to feel power inside of his body, as he started to concentrate even more and more, as he could feel power, purple chakra inside of him, as he saw that how he was able to unlock it just in moment, at the moment when Naruto unlocked the chakra, as Third Hokage's eyes widened. Instead of blue chakra, it was a purple, deep purple chakra, as he could feel the nature all around Naruto started to glow, as well as the plants, the trees started to grow rapidly as Third Hokage's eyes widened. This presence, it couldn't be. How could this even be possible? As Third Hokage saw a small leaf started to grow even more and more in the presence of Naruto, as Naruto's chakra was dense and so much of it. As Third Hokage's eyes widened as he said, Naruto, but how? As he was still in shock, as Naruto opened his eyes as he was surrounded by a purplish chakra, the dense chakra, as well as the concentration and the amount of it was intense. As Third Hokage said, well done, Naruto, this is just amazing. As Naruto said, did I unlock my chakra, Gigi? As Hiruzen said, yes, Naruto, that is quite awesome. You are able to unlock your chakra at your first attempt. This is really great. As Naruto started to jump into the air, quite happy that he has impressed Hokage or his sensei. As Naruto said, alright, okay Hokage-sama, now what should I do next? As Hokage smiled, chuckled at that as he said, alright Naruto, you should concentrate on your chakra right at this position, and tomorrow we shall learn how to control your chakra even more. Or just forget that. As Third Hokage gave Naruto a leaf as he said, alright Naruto, for the next lesson, I will teach you how to control your chakra. You have to keep this leaf on your head and don't let it fall, and use your chakra so that it could actually stay. You can already see the air here is quite fast, so it will be fallen, but you have to keep it at your head by using your chakra. As Naruto nodded at that, as Third Hokage went off as he said, but how this is even possible? Naruto is no senju. How he could have the wood style? As Third Hokage could feel the presence. This presence was same as the first Hokage, Hashirama Senju. As Third Hokage started to think that how this is not even possible, that Naruto could have this type of power. As this, he has to, you can say, make it a secret and have to tell everyone when the times arrive. Right now he has to deal with other things. As the Ambu arrived, as he said, Lord Third, the council has been summoned and they have requested your presence. As Hiruzen sighed and said, well, I already knew this will happen. As he went to the council meeting, as all the clan heads along with the civilian council were there, as Hokage took his seat, as he said, alright, what do you guys actually want? As one of the council members stood up, well, Lord Hokage, we have been informed that you are training the demon brat. As Third Hokage glared at him as he was surrounded by the Ambus. As the council member started to sweat. What? As Third Hokage said, that kid name is Naruto Uzumaki. Call him a demon and you shall break my law. And you know what is punishment of my law, right? As the council member nodded but by sweating a lot, as he said, Well, Lord Hokage, I just wanted to ask you, why? You have other better things to do, right? As Hiruzen said, well, are you telling me that what should I do and what should I not? As one of the other council members stood up, well, Lord Hokage, we are not telling you what you can do, but that kid, he's a Jinchuriki. You cannot just train him, it is favoritism. As Hokage sighs and said, well, that kid is like a grandson to me, and just like any grandson, of any of you person, I can train him if I want to. As one of the council members said, well, that is not how things work, Lord Hokage, and you know it. You cannot just train him. He is not your blood relative. As Hokage started to laugh and said, well, if you really think that you have the power and authority to stop me, then speak up. As all the council members were quite shocked. They have never seen this side of Hiruzen. Hiruzen was always a pushover, and it was quite easy to make Hiruzen do things he did not want to. As the Hamura as well as Koharu speak up, Hiruzen, you have other things to do. We know that you have been promoted to Hokage once again because of Minato's absence, but that's not how things will work, and you know it. As Hiruzen said, well, I've seen how you guys treat the poor guy. I agree to the situation that Danzo, you can tell the villagers about the situation, but you guys do know whose child he actually is, as all the clan heads already knew. As he said, well, we have to take care of him, and that is the real situation. If his actual parents were here, then things would be different, and we know it. As one of the council members said, who's the parent of the demon brat, the same one who speak up first time? As Third Hokage nodded as the Ambu cleaned his head off, as everyone was quite shocked, especially the council, the civilian council. As Hiruzen said, call him my pupil, a demon again, and your head shall be next. As everyone was quite utterly shocked, as Hiruzen stood up and said, well, I am Hiruzen Sarutobi, the god of shinobi. No one tells me what I can do or not. I'm the Hokage of this village, and my word is law. Obey it or face the circumstances. As everyone was quite shocked. They have never seen this side of Hiruzen. Even Danzo gritted his teeth. It is hard to approach Naruto now. As Hiruzen said, well, this meeting is adjourned. As all the council members stood up and then went off. They know that they cannot do anything. There is no one who can take the position of Hokage, and Hiruzen does not have any fear of losing the position. After all, Minato is the 4th Hokage, and he has been given permission to become the present Hokage at this moment. So he does not even care. Like canon, as he went off, as he saw that how Naruto was trying his best to keep the leaf on his head. As Hiruzen smiled and said, well, Naruto-kun, it seems that your training is going good. As Naruto looked towards Hiruzen as the leaf fall off. As Naruto said, yeah, I'm trying my best, Sensei. As Hiruzen said, well, Naruto, that should be more than enough training for today. Allow me to treat you at the Ichiraku Ramen. As Naruto nodded at that, was quite happy. After all, the Ichiraku Ramen is something he always wanted to go. That is his favorite place. As Hokage along with Naruto went to the village, as many villagers were glaring at Naruto, but no one dared to glare at the 3rd Hokage. After all, he is a legendary shinobi, and they have to respect him. And they were not even giving Naruto glares, just looking at him and then looking away, giving him a small glare and all, as all of them were minding their own business. As for Naruto, he went to the Ichiraku Ramen as he started to eat. As the ramen guy said, well, Naruto-kun, it has been some time. So, how you has been? As Naruto said, well, I'm happy, with a big smile. As the ramen girl arrived, well, Naruto-kun, here, eat this. It is a new recipe. As Naruto nodded at that as he started to eat with a big smile, as he said, well, it is great. As 3rd Hokage also started to eat ramen, as he quite enjoyed the company of Naruto. As he said, alright, Naruto-kun, so are you done eating after 30 minutes? As Naruto nodded, as he has already eaten 5 bowls of ramen. As Hiruzen chuckled at that, remembering Kushina, and his tone started to get angry. As every time he remembered about Jiraiya, Tsunade, Minato, or especially Kushina, he became so much angry. He remembers Uzumaki's when they were alive, how much they actually care about their own blood. They will put anything, literally anything, behind their family. Their family is always their first priority, while on the other hand, Kushina has abandoned her own first child for the other two, as he was quite angry on that. As he said, alright Naruto-kun, let's go. We have other things to do, right? As Naruto nodded at that, as Third Hokage said, alright Naruto, I want you to do 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, and then you have to run at least 500 meter. As Naruto nodded at that, after all, Naruto right now is only 4 years old, so this type of things will help him. As Third Hokage also provided him with the food and all, as Third Hokage as well as Naruto started to walk towards the home of Naruto, as Third Hokage saw some smoke coming from the area, as he already had figured out what would have actually happened, as he went to the place only to see that many civilians after seeing him ran away. As they saw that Naruto's apartment was on fire, this really angered Third Hokage. He recognized some of them, as few of them were dead of council, as he said Ambu. As Ambu arrived, as Third Hokage said, I want them all captured now. As Ambu nodded, as many Ambu arrived, as they started to follow some of the council members or some of the civilians. As Naruto was quite sad about this all, as he started to cry, as Third Hokage said, don't worry Naruto-kun, we will find a new home for you. As Naruto wiped out his tear and as he smiled brightly, as he said, don't worry Gigi, I'm pretty sure that I will find a new home. As Third Hokage could see the fake smile, as his heart started to feel even more guilt, as he said, don't worry Naruto, from this point on you are going to live with me at my apartment, Sarutobi apartment, and no one in this whole village, no, in this whole world would dare to attack my own house. As Naruto was quite shocked to hear this, as well as happy at the same time, as Naruto said, alright, as with a genuine smile, as Third Hokage nodded at that, as he went off with Third Hokage at his apartment. As Naruto entered, as he saw that a lady, which seems to be around in her 30s, you can say, which welcomed Naruto, as this woman has a young boy in her hand, or you can say not just yet, or a big belly, you can say it, you know, what was his name again? Konohamaru is not just born yet, as Third Hokage make Naruto enter, as he explained the situation to the young lady, as she nodded at that, as Naruto could see that she did not hate Naruto or anything, but he could feel the love that was coming from the eyes of that woman. Well guys, how to give her a name, or because I wanted to give her name, but nah, just who cares about it? I might kill her in the future. As Naruto nodded at that, as he entered into the room, as the woman started to give Naruto food, as Naruto did not even eat such a great food, as he was quite happy to see this situation here, as the woman has a big belly in this time. As Naruto asked Third Hokage what it is about, as Third Hokage laughed and said, well, it seems that a kid is coming, Naruto, in this world. As Naruto was confused, as Third Hokage laughed and said, one day you will know it, Naruto, as Naruto nodded at that. Now, the time started to pass, as Konohamaru in this time has already born, but unfortunately, his mother, the one who Naruto started to think her like his own mother, also passed away thanks to giving birth Konohamaru. As this really saddens Sarutobi, but he has to deal with it, and now he has two grandsons to take care of. First Naruto, and now second Konohamaru. As Naruto also met, you can say, Asuma 1 or 2 times, but he also saw that there is not much of a great chemistry between Third Hokage and Asuma. So he did not ask Third Hokage, as he saw that it was a sore topic. Now, on to the training of Naruto. In this time, Third Hokage was teaching Naruto how to control his chakra, as we have 2 years timescape. In this time, Naruto can easily control his chakra as well as can do minor jutsus, as Third Hokage told Naruto that they are going to see his abilities, his chakra natures, as Naruto nodded at that, as Third Hokage gave Naruto a paper, as Naruto nodded, and then Third Hokage said, well, just put chakra in it and we shall find out what are your abilities, Naruto-kun, as Naruto nodded at that, as Naruto put chakra in the paper. To the surprise of Third Hokage, as the paper split into 4 pieces, one crumbled, other burnt away, other had you can say the wind, fire, lightning, earth. What is other one? Water, I suppose. As Tadokage's eyes widen, as Naruto had 5 chakra natures, this really surprises Tadokage. As he said, Naruto-kun, you have 5 chakra natures. That is amazing. As Naruto said, really, sensei? As Sarutobi nodded and said, well, Naruto, the only person in the whole village I know that who has 5 chakra natures is me. And no one other than me has all 5 chakra natures. As Naruto was quite happy to hear this, as Naruto said, really? I'm that strong? As Tadokage nodded and said, well, Naruto-kun, even I had to try for years so that I can develop my chakra natures, so that I could reach 5 chakra natures, but it seems that you have already obtained 5 chakra natures naturally, and your affinity to all 5 of them is quite great. I could see that. As Naruto was quite happy at his progress, as Tadokage laughed and said, alright Naruto-kun, today I shall teach you how to control your chakra to the next level. As Naruto nodded at that, as he said, well, I wanted to learn some jutsu. As Tadokage laughed and said, well Naruto, you will learn many jutsu and you shall create many more. But for that, you have to control your chakra even more. You know, I have a student whose name is Tsunade. As he gritted his teeth, as he said, well, she has so much great chakra nature that when she punches a ground or a stone, she can shatter it into pieces just thanks to her chakra control. This really surprises Naruto. As he said, really? I can make my physical strength that great? As Hokage laughed and said, well Naruto-kun, you have so much chakra, so I doubt that you will be able to control it that much. But who knows, you might be able to do so. As Naruto nodded at that, as Tadokage showed him the tree walking exercise, as Naruto said, alright. As he tried at the first attempt, as Tadokage's eyes widened, as Naruto was able to walk up to half of the tree, and then he went down. As Tadokage said, what is actually going on here? As Naruto tried at the second time, as he was able to reach almost at the top of the tree, but then he fell off. And then Naruto tried 2 or 3 more times as he was able to walk up to tree like it was nothing. As Tadokage was really surprised, this kid seems to be the prodigy. Well guys, many people think that the wood style of the first Hokage was a Kekkei Genkai, but actually it was not a Kekkei Genkai. It was like this. First Hokage had 3 Kekkei Genkais. First Kekkei Genkai was like, you can say, the control of chakra. His chakra control was so precise. That was the first Kekkei Genkai that first Hokage actually had. And the second and third Kekkei Genkai was the control of water and the art style. The control on these 2 elements. It is something that I have heard on Google, that is, and other what ifs. This logic has been used, and same Kekkei Genkais that Naruto also have. He has so much control, not only over the earth and water element, but other elements as well, and his chakra control will improve in time. But he also have the precise control of the Kekkei Genkai or the chakra control, so he's quite happy about it. As Tadokage said, alright Naruto, just keep it doing for more time. As Naruto nodded at that, as he even tried, as he was able to walk up to tree like it was nothing, like he was walking on the ground. This really impresses Tadokage a lot. As he said, alright Naruto, if it seems that you have already mastered this exercise, now come with me. As Naruto nodded at that, as he went to the nearby pond that was there, as Tadokage started to walk up to water, as Naruto said, whoa, this is great, GG. As Tadokage said, well, what did I say to you, Naruto? As Naruto nodded and said, sorry sensei. As Tadokage smiled and said, alright Naruto, try to do this and keep it doing. I have other paperwork to do. As Naruto nodded at that, as Naruto put a step into the lake, as Tadokage saw that, for a moment Naruto was able to stand, but then he fell into the water. As he came out, as he started to pant, as he said, well, it's going to be a bit hard. As Tadokage laughed and said, just keep it doing, Naruto, it is the same principle as the tree walking. As Naruto nodded at that, and then he started to try his best more and more and more. As Tadokage was watching Naruto, as at the 5 or 6 try, Naruto was able to walk on water like it was nothing, and even more practice as Naruto fell off almost 3 times, but he was able to master the water walking. As Naruto was able to do this thing, as Naruto arrived as Tadokage said, "Alright, Naruto, that was good. It seems that you have mastered the water walking, right?" As Naruto nodded, with a big smile, as Tadokage thought, "Well, I have never seen a 6-year-old like him, as he is able to master things like they're nothing, tree walking and water walking, just in one day. Really, truly impressive. Only if, Minato, you have seen the potential of your own son and did not presume that your other two children would have more potential than your oldest son." Now, we got to the other side of the nation, the fire temple, as Minato, Kushina, Menma and Mito are there, as Menma and Mito are trying to walk up to the tree, as Kushina as well as Jiraiya are cheering both of them on. As for Minato, he's doing some paperwork or things like that, as Menma fall off from the tree, as Kushina said, "Don't worry, Menma-kun, I know that you can do it." As Menma said, "Yeah, I'll do it, Mom," as well as Mito, as both of them had the chakra of the nine tails, so they were struggling in this time. As Kushina said, "Yeah, my Menma and Mito will be the strongest in the all 5 great nations." As Tsunade said, "Yeah, I truly believe on that. After all, one of them is going to be the child of prophecy who is going to save this world." As Kushina smiled, as Tsunade said, "Well, I wonder what is your other son must be doing." As Kushina had a sad smile and said, "Well, I'm pretty sure he will be doing fine." And Kushina, as Tsunade said, "So what about his training?" As Kushina said, "Well, he will train when he goes into the academy, 8 years old." As Tsunade was looking towards Kushina, as Kushina said, "Don't worry, the academy is for a reason and they will teach him the basic, and when we go back, we will claim him back and then we will teach him our jutsus as well, yeah." As Tsunade said, "Well, I'm pretty sure he will be able to handle it, right?" As Kushina nodded at that, as they saw that how Menma and Mito were falling off from the tree. Now we cut back to Naruto as he was playing with Konohamaru, who is around 1 or 2 years old right now. As Naruto had a deep bond with Konohamaru as he went back to the village, as he saw that mostly villagers give him glares, but no one dares to attack him. After all, third Hokage, he is living with the third Hokage, and after the execution of many civilians who burned off the house of Naruto Uzumaki, now we have a, you can say, flashback, as Naruto's house was burned off, as third Hokage was quite angry. After leaving Naruto at house, he went to the council meeting, as many council members that were there, as the civilian council that was there, as the Ambu has already captured 2 of the civilian council members that were there at the incidents, as they were sweating. As then third Hokage arrived, as the, you can say, Shinobi Council was not happy about the situation that they've been summoned once again in the same day. As third Hokage said, "You two, how dare you to attack house of a little kid?" As one of them said, "I do not care, he's a demon, nothing more than a demon, and his house deserved to be burnt off." As third Hokage raised an eyebrow, "Oh really? You think that he's a demon? So that is the reason you burnt off my property, right?" As civilians' eyes widened, as all the civilians did not knew that it was actually the apartment of third Hokage, who bought it at that place in the long time ago, and he was the one who gave Naruto the apartment. As the council member said, "I did not knew it was your house." As third Hokage said, "Well, you should have known before burning the property of the Hokage of the village." As this really surprises most of the people, as Danzo was cursing in his mind. Even he did not knew that was the property of Hiruzen. He was about to say something on the defense of the council members, but he'd know better than to say anything when any civilian dares, or even shinobi dares, to burn the property or the house of Hokage. He knows his punishment, so he is not going to speak anything. As the civilian looked towards Danzo, who was looking back at him with a neutral face, as he was about to say something, as Danzo nodded as the Ambu cleaned his head off, as before he could say anything, as Hiruzen looked towards Danzo, who still had the neutral face, as Ambu said, "Well, Lord Hokage, he broke your law and we have our orders." As Hiruzen nodded at that, as he said, "Alright, conceal all of his possessions and put it in and repair the house from that, and on top of it, give his family his share, the share of his property, and give the rest to the bank of Konoha. And for you, as he looked towards the other one who was sweating in this time, as he said, well, Lord Hokage, I did not knew. He just told me we can do this. I'm sorry. As he started to cry, as Hiruzen sighs and said, well, he thought, well, he's one of the merchants of our village. I just cannot execute him right now. As Tadokage said, well, you will give this fine, as he gave him a big fine and said, the next time, if I found you anywhere near that property or around that child, I will take away all of your possessions and don't even think about moving from this village. If I find out, your execution will be permanent. As he nodded, as Hiruzen said, alright, you shall be punished for 3 months in the cell. As he started to sweat as he went off, as the ambush took him away. As Hiruzen sighed and said, alright, this meeting is adjourned. As all of them went off, as the council members were not happy that first the civilian councils was the one who summoned them, and now this situation, they were quite surprised when Tadokage said it was his possession, his own house, that these council members burnt off. As the most of the civilian council members were sweating in this time, they were thinking that Tadokage is going to execute all of them, but they were fortunate enough, as Tadokage also noticed some of them who were there were sitting around. As Tadokage just glared at them, as they saw that how Tadokage already knew that it was them who did so. As Tadokage went off. Now, Naruto right now is 6 years old, as he is in the one of the training ground, passing by, as he saw a child is sitting on the cliff near water. As Naruto was surprised, as this kid seems to be sad. As Naruto walked up to the kid, it was none other than Sasuke Uchiha. As Naruto said, hey, are you alright? As Sasuke looked back at him with his, the usual Uchiha shrug, as he said, who are you? As Naruto said, well, my name is Naruto Uzumaki. As he put his hand in front of Sasuke, who seems to be quite sad. As Sasuke first thought about it and then took his hand and said, my name is Sasuke Uchiha. As Naruto said, well, you seems to be a bit troubled. As Naruto took a seat beside Sasuke. As Sasuke said, what do you mean by that? As Naruto said, well, I do train, and I know one thing, when people lie, and I can tell that you seems to be a bit sad. So, what happened? Well, if you want, I could be your friend. As Sasuke looked towards Naruto, as Naruto gave him a bright smile. As for some reason, this makes Sasuke's heart a bit lighter. As Sasuke said, well, I was trying to impress my father with my fire jutsu, but no matter how hard I try, I'm not able to do it as good as my as Naruto said, my what? As my brother. As Sasuke looked down into the ground, into the water, as Naruto smiled and said, well, then you just have to train hard. Then you will be able to surpass your brother. I totally believe in that. As Sasuke was quite surprised, it was first time anyone said that he actually believed in him. As this really makes Sasuke happy. As Sasuke said, really? As Naruto said, yeah, I trained really hard with my sensei as well, and I can help you with that. As Sasuke said, really? So, how many jutsus do you actually know? As Naruto rubbed the back of his head and said, well, actually, I do not know any jutsu, but right now I'm training at my physical as well as chakra control. As Sasuke said, chakra control? As Naruto said, yeah, if you have the perfect chakra control, then you can do any jutsu with no difficulty whatsoever. This really surprises Sasuke. As Naruto said, well, don't you know about chakra control exercises? As Sasuke shook his head and said, well, I did not know anything about it. As Naruto said, then allow me to show it to you. As Naruto put the leaf on his head and said, well, you have to do this like this. If you are able to do it, I'm pretty sure that you can do the C rank fire style jutsu. As Sasuke said, C rank? As Naruto explained that jutsus are graded from D to S rank. This really surprises Sasuke that the fireball was just a C rank jutsu. As he said, alright, I will do it. As from that time, Sasuke trained for 3 hours, as he was at the end of the day was able to put the leaf at his head. As Sasuke was quite happy to do so. As Naruto said, alright, try it now. Use your fire style. As Sasuke nodded at that, as he made hand signs and said, fire style, great fireball jutsu. As he let out a big fireball. at the lake as it was a great fireball, as Sasuke was quite happy after this, as Naruto said, "Whoa, it is quite awesome. I have never seen someone using that. You are quite cool." As Sasuke was happy that someone actually praised him. But his father always just, Itachi, that type of shit. So this really saddens Sasuke most often, but this really makes Sasuke happy. As Sasuke said, "Thanks, it really helped me a lot." As Naruto said, "Well, it is just a minor chakra control exercise. If you make your chakra control better, you will be able to do any jutsu." As Sasuke was quite happy, thinking that by controlling chakra, he will be able to activate his Sharingan as well. As Sasuke said, "Alright, no, we shall train tomorrow, okay?" As Naruto said, "Alright, this time I'll be free. So, see you tomorrow, Sasuke." As Sasuke smiled as he went off. Okay guys, here I will left this part. Hope you guys like it. It is 1 hour, so I'm pretty sure that I should end this part for now. So if you guys have any suggestions, just tell me in the comment section and I will think about it, came it over. And if you guys want the next part of it tomorrow, I have already told you guys about the subscribe goal, but for the like goal, it is going to be the usual 80 comments and 120 likes, and I will upload the next part of it. So okay guys, peace. And if you guys are not subscribed, then subscribe because it will help me a lot. So subscribe. Peace.